everybody knows the tangible benefits of gym training, so we're not going to touch that. We're going to go way the fuck beyond that. I just postulated something on Twitter that's extremely important. I've never heard anybody preach this topic. Nobody's broached this topic. And it's this concept that men are creatures of physical labor. You have to exert yourself physically and wear yourself down. The physical organism must be worn down to the bone in order to access the cabinetry and the furniture in your mind, to be able to monolithically obsess over whatever the fuck your objective is. If you do not tear through the organism first, your mind is going to be a wandering fucking lunatic. There's a reason that blue collar workers get way more pussy than you, because they're fucking pouring concrete all day, chopping hammers, splitting wood, using circular saws, wearing themselves the fuck out physically. And when they rock up to a bar at night, they're so beaten down to a bloody pulp. You think they give a fuck about your little pickup artist tactics? Think these motherfuckers are thinking about indicators of interest? Think these motherfuckers are making a science out of shit that should come so natural to you as a man? Fuck no. They don't give a fuck. And they're getting more bitches than you because their body is shredded. Their body's wrecked. So their mind isn't focused on insecurities, how they sound, how they look, their fucking vocal tone, what octaves, what decibels they're speaking in. All that shit goes flying out the fucking window when you're walking as a fucking paranormal fatigued organism, which is the optimal state of being a man. I have been in a permanent state of fatigue and exhaustion for like 15 years. Because I push my CNS to the max every fucking day. Have zero time for trifles. Have zero time to assess my insecurities. I don't give a fuck. I'm breezing right past them because I'm beaten down every morning I wake up. You know how I once said on Twitter? It's one of the truest fucking things I ever said. I said, men are 100 times more alpha when they have a fucking cold or the flu or some kind of mild physical ailment. You know why that is? Because when a motherfucker's got aches and pains, you're able to be your natural self. You don't have that weird fucking nervous energy of that wandering mind that drifts off into space, making a granular science out of all of these little fucking processes. It's just not fucking physically possible. Men are at their best performance capacity when they have some mild ailment or a malady that they're carrying on their shoulders. And the fastest way to expedite that process is that you have to wear yourself down physically daily. You don't get days off. You're hardwired for movement. So once you've beaten your body up, it frees up that mental capacity. Fucking try it. Don't believe me. Test this out. You will see how easy it is to sit down with a fucking pen and paper. I don't give a fuck if you're using a keyboard, and knock out Herculean heroic tasks after your body has been punished and abused. You can sit there for fucking 10 hours and start grinding into the mental realm. But until you have exhausted the physical body, don't even fucking try to pinpoint focus with your fucking mind. Because the two are extremely fucking connected. And you gotta, like I said, patient zero, ground zero is the body. You gotta chew through that shit up first like a fucking conveyor belt before you can start really accessing the mind and start focusing. There is no ADHD to a man whose nervous system is fried under the crushing weight of fucking steel and bent iron daily. That's just not happening. There's no geeky science. There's no game. There's no fucking making these weird sciences out of shit. You're just gonna You're just going to rest at the bottom of the trough of your natural self. Okay. That's the first benefit of the gym. The real world purpose of utilizing the gym to beat yourself to a bloody pulp is number one, it frees up your ability to be your natural self because your insecurities don't matter. The trifles don't matter. Gossip don't matter. It doesn't matter who said this, who said what, who whispered this behind your back. All of that shit's nonsense. You don't give a fuck. You don't give a fuck about the news. You don't give a fuck about Donald Trump. You don't give a fuck about Nicki Minaj. All that shit's nonsense. Second purpose. If you are broke, if you are a nobody, if you are invisible, there is a way to use the gym to turn yourself into a freak, at least mentally. At least mentally. And what I mean is this. A lot of you guys, and you know I'm right on this, you walk into the gym and you can only perform at a high clip when other motherfuckers are around. Because you guys, a lot of you guys are strutting in the gym. You're going at like prime time because you use the gym as a social club and a social hour. You're really there to just kind of get accolades or see who's watching you lift big weights, or maybe you get a couple glances from a chick. That shit's gay as fuck. You should be in the gym explicitly for the express purpose of turning yourself into a fucking mental freak. And what I mean is this. When I was snatching 300 pounds day after day after day after day, you got to be a real sick puppy to want to lift that kind of weight over your head. Okay, you have to. That's step one. You have to be a fucking maniac. You have to be cut from a different cloth to even want to pursue a wicked strength goal on that level. And so, how I would chide my time in the gym is I would purposely go when no motherfucker were there. I'd go get a 24-hour key, walk into a CrossFit gym at midnight when no motherfuckers were there because I don't want music. I didn't want accolades. I didn't want props. I'm just there to turn myself into a fucking monster. Because when you're broke, especially when you're young, you got just too much time on your hands. There's nothing else to do. If you're sitting around and you're malingering, why the fuck is your ass not in the gym at least forging some kind of unique mindset, and at least you're building towards something that no other motherfucker can do? That's like an extremely applicable, off the ground, out of the box way to just start separating yourself from the fucking pack. So I would be in there. I got no eyes on me. And if you've ever pushed your body and your mind to the highest level, you know what I'm talking about. You know when you don't have props and you don't have an audience and it's just you versus you. You know how much harder it is to dig deep. You know how hard it is to eradicate the bitch in your heart when you don't have eyes on you. So I would be taking my largest attempts when there was no motherfucker around. Because this shit, I'm settling scores between me and me. And I knew that I was just gonna reemerge into the world when I hit that fucking goal. And at least, worst case scenario, if I never snatched 300 pounds, at least I would have a perturbed psyche. At least it would give me some sort of freakish mindset that's sort of off the rails that I could potentially use in some capacity. So those are like the two very fucking basic, common purposes of the fucking gym, is to utilize those two strategies just to at least turn yourself into something where you can walk with your head high and be like, look, I'm the best at this. Because I know any gym in America, more or less, especially for a natural athlete, you guys know how anti-roids I am. There ain't natural motherfuckers. I'm 190 pounds. There's not natural motherfuckers snatching 300 pounds as a natural athlete. So I'm walking around knowing I'm doing shit other motherfuckers could only dream of doing. So that's step one when it comes to strength training, is why would you not pursue something that makes you easily head and shoulders above other competition? That's just like, it's a no-brainer, especially if you're a nobody. Like I said, you have no money, you're broke, you're working on a business, you're working towards something. Okay, how else are you going to stand out? How else are you going to stand out? And I've made this point before, and it's extremely true, that you'll notice a lot of rich, older men have an affinity for athletes, even broke athletes. If you look at any wealthy circle, there's always some like freakish athletic dude kind of floating around. And he's borrowing the status of that social circle just based on his fucking athletic ability. Because especially like older, graying white men who are out of shape and falling out of status, they just naturally gravitate towards that type of aesthetic, that type of functional performance. So these are just very fucking clear cut ways to utilize the gym to stand out. And again, there's other benefits too. I mean, you want to talk about the fucking 1,000-yard stare. When you push your body to the level that I'm talking about, where you're just so fucking wrecked and you couldn't, when you wake up in the morning, you can't dream of dragging yourself into the gym. You're so tired. I call it the dark times. When you can make progress in your life during the dark times, when you're so tired that you can't even think about putting a bar on your back, but then you show up anyway and you accomplish that, you're going places. You are going places if you can really start to make progress while under a massive amount of exhaustion and fatigue. And that's like the whole central point of being a man, because I am convinced as I get older that the whole challenge of men in general is figuring out how to rip the fuck out of your pain circuitry, right? Like as a man, you want a high pain threshold. And I'm not talking just physical, I'm talking emotional as well. But you really want to figure out how to fucking rip your pain circuitry out. And you have to experience a lot of pain and a lot of hardship in order for you to get accustomed to that, to build those calluses towards that. You know what I mean? Like I've blown up many $million portfolios, sports betting, whatever the fuck I've done, and nothing phases me anymore. Because I've been through so much shit. I've seen so many things so many fucking times that just nothing really drags me down anymore. I've seen it all. I've done it all a million times. I got all the fucking life experience in the world to rest my hat onto. And so my pain threshold is excruciatingly high. Things that would take white people off the fucking game board, I don't even fucking feel it. And that's the kind of man that you really want to strive to be, because then people can start leaning on you for your strength. People start asking you for wisdom and advice because they see that you're a man who's unrattled. You're unrattled and you're untrammeled by the vicissitudes of life. So I'm in the gym now to just tinker with those pain mechanisms. I'm subjecting myself to unnecessary amounts of pain because I want to take that into the real world, and I want to be hardened up so that when I do face stress and I do face challenges, I have a very strong physical organism to cannibalize first. That's the real benefit of being a strong athlete. It has nothing to do with the actual physical aesthetic. It has everything to do with having that foundation, a massive foundation that can withstand a lot of damage, because somebody has to do it. Somebody has to do it. Someone has to absorb the damage of life. And men are called upon. It's the call to adventure for men to take that task on headlong with zero fucking fear. So if you're not strength training, you're leaving a lot on the table. You're leaving a lot on the table. There's no situation you're ever going to find yourself in life and you're going to wish, oh, I wish I was weaker in this spot. It's impossible. There's not one situation you could name. If you jog your fucking memory into oblivion, you'll never be able to name a situation where you wished that you were weaker. So why would you not max your genetic potential? Why would you not max your genetic potential and understand what your limits are, what your capabilities are? It makes zero sense. You have to be able to fucking lift at a max capacity and challenge yourself that way, because the cognitive benefits from that are just way too immense to pass up on. And all of this shit can be applied to the real world. You have towering stress reservoirs when you have a strong physical mainframe, when you have a strong hull. You have a massive well of power that can be dissipated and eaten into, and you will not taper and you will not falter. And that's just the bottom fucking line. But if you have a weak organism and you're physically weak and you're going through mental stress and mental issues, you are fucked, my friend. Because your body's going to fucking incinerate real fast. Real fucking fast. And that is the whole purpose of the gym in general, is that if you ever go belly up, if you go on a big adventure, if you go on a high adventure and you get your ass handed to you, I don't give a fuck if it's a big rejection or you went through a tough divorce or you blew up a portfolio. There is some fucking pride in waking up in the morning and just feeling the invigoration and solitude of your own strength. There's some fucking like that's a very spiritual process. Waking up in the morning, you're like, you know what? I might be broke right now. I might be loveless right now. I might have lost everything, but I am one strong, capable motherfucker, and I'll be back. And I'll be back for the next run. Why would you not want that failsafe? Makes zero sense.